Guess who's back again. Guess who's fucking back, everyone?
I'm back. That's all I have to say. I'm back.
Welcome back to And They Were
Sweet
Mates.
Mates.
Bitch, it is Alexa, and I am so happy to say...
Skyla.
Woo!
It's been 2 weeks. It's been
This bitch has had quite a family emergency.
It's just been the family emergency, yeah. The past 2 weeks, I'm speechless. Like, I don't even know where to start.
I'm speechless.
Oh, God. It's been rough.
Yeah. It's been a long road without you. Bitch, I don't know if you want to get into it because, like, you know, that's your business, but, like, if you want to let anybody know, like, where the fuck you were at, what was going on.
So, yeah. So I had myself a little break for a while. I'm not one of those people to go around telling everyone my information, especially when it's, like, personal stuff. But
we're on a podcast now,
so we're on a podcast.
You don't have a choice.
So unfortunately, 2 weeks ago, I lost my grandfather. Like, we're not crying.
We're not.
So I lost my grandfather, and let me tell you that I've been fortunate enough for 20 years of my life, I have not lost a grandparent.
Right.
So,
right.
And
you're
the
no,
same
same.
way.
Yeah, they're all still, yeah.
Right, where I feel like when you're a kid, you know,
Mm-hmm.
a
lot of people do, or like don't even have them when they're born.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I had a great grandmother who passed away when I was like 8 or 10. I don't even know. But like,
yeah.
I mean, when you're that young, you don't you don't realize the concept of death or anything. You know what I mean?
Right,
I was
right.
young, she was old. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Not whatever. Love you, Nana. But you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like,
I know what you're saying.
It's not something.
It's like
you
don't realize. Yeah.
Right. So, like I said, 2 weeks ago, my grandfather got really sick. And he's always kind of been sick for the past few years. But he always kind of overcomes whatever he's dealing with. So he'll get really sick. He'll get better. So my parents call me. They're like, you know, he's not really doing well. And I'm just crossing my fingers. I'm like, you know what? Maybe he'll get through it. And then within 2 days, my mom had called me, put the phone up to his ear, had to say my goodbyes.
Yes.
From 700 miles away. So that in itself was the hardest thing I have ever done. Because I'm a very emotional person too. Yes, I'm very emotional. So that was not good. And then the next morning, he passed away, unfortunately. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know if I was going to go home. Because obviously there's travel restrictions, everything. So I really didn't know what I was going to do. And I kind of left it up to my dad. Because I'm like, you know what? It was his dad. So if he wants me home, he'll tell me, I'll get on a plane, I'll come home.
Right.
And I didn't really know. And I didn't tell anyone this. I mean, I didn't even tell Alexa.
Yeah, dude, like, that scared the shit out of me. When you came into my room, I was like, what? Like, it scared me because we were, like, it was, like, a regular day. This bitch comes into my room, and she just, like, starts, like, crying.
Well, Brie asked me a question.
Yeah. I was like, what happened? It was, like, that fucking TikTok sound. What the fuck happened, bro? What happened? And I was like, what's going on?
Like, Brie, her roommate, asked me a question, and I just immediately broke down. I was like, I don't even know what to say right now. And so Alexa was like, why didn't you tell me? I'm like, I'm not one.
Yeah.
I'm just not that person to go unless I'm really, really struggling and I feel like the need to go to you, or like I'm just not one to come out and say my problems. So yes, that in itself, I don't talk about.
Yeah, like I was like, woo, it really threw me for a loop.
Right. So, but when I'm by myself and I'm by myself in my room, like I was struggling. So I'm kind of happy that my mom that night that weekend was just, she had called me up on Saturday night. She's like, you know what? You're flying home tomorrow. So I was like, okay. All right. So, which I was happy about. All my siblings, my older brother flew home too. So we were all together.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he came home.
Oh, cute.
Yeah,
okay,
so
I
we were
didn't
all
even know
home.
that.
Yeah,
Everybody was home. Okay,
everyone was home. So I saw everyone. I saw everyone who I wanted to see. So I saw my other grandparents. I saw my aunts, uncles, one of my best friends who's at home, goes to school at home, saw her. So it was honestly a really good week. And that would have been our fall break anyway. So
it was got like a nice
break.
a
good week to go home. I mean, obviously the circumstances were not good.
Right.
Good week to go home though. This is where the story kind of gets. So I didn't know when I went home when his services were going to be because the arrangements weren't happening until Monday. So the thing is that Dan, my boyfriend, had already planned to come the following Thursday to come visit me in North Carolina.
Those were plans prior.
Right. So my mom was like, you know what? When she was booking the flights, she was like, you know what? You'll come home, but I'll put you on the same flight as Dan. So you'll at least be home for a few days. Hopefully services are in those days. and you'll fly home with him. Because, I mean, he, like I said, it wasn't going to mess everything up. I really went home to see my family. So come Monday when we find out the services were, the wake wasn't until Thursday night, and the funeral wasn't until Friday morning. So I'm like, of course, because if...
That's your luck.
That's my luck. Because if it were my way, I would have done the services Wednesday night, funeral Thursday morning, and I could have gone to both, flew home Thursday. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But of course, that just didn't happen. So all week, I felt so guilty. Like, we're talking lump in the throat, pit in the stomach.
Scary times.
Like, I'm like, I feel awful. Because I wasn't in person, and that's nothing I could handle. I wasn't in person when I couldn't say goodbye
Obviously,
in person.
it wasn't your fault, and he understood.
Right.
You know.
Wasn't in person to say goodbye. I mean, at least I got the phone call. You know, he couldn't talk back to me, but he could at least hear me, hear what I was saying.
Right.
But now I'm feeling awful because I can't even go to his services. So I'm like, what do I do? So all week feeling guilty. Come Wednesday, I went out to lunch with Mackenzie. Love you, Mackenzie. I'm like a real one. Back at home. So she has lost, a few people in her life, and she has gone to mediums. And I'm not one. I mean, I don't know if you're...
I've never done that. I don't... See, like, the thing is, I'm like, I don't believe in it, but then I'm like, I don't know. It would be interesting to me.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know how much I believe it. I guess it would depend on what they told me.
No, exactly.
Know? Yeah.
Because part of me, I'm like, okay, are they just...
Yeah, like bullshitting it, like, oh, you had somebody that passed away recently, you know?
Right.
Or if it's, like, legitimate, like, they're pulling up, like, information that is, like, you know, they had no way of knowing, like, then I'd be like, all right, it's pretty cool.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was talking about it, I'm like, well, now I kind of want to go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm feeling this way. I want to know what it's all about. So we're talking about it, and she's like, you know what, yeah, like, when you come home for Thanksgiving, like, we'll go. She's like, I'll book you, I'll book us all with my lady.
Right.
And we'll go.
Wait, she's got like a lady, like a nail tech? It's like her lady?
I'm like, Mackenzie, I don't know, you'll have to explain it, but...
She's like, I'll book you with my girl.
No, I guess she goes to this one girl. It's like in a town near us, I guess.
Like often?
I don't know. I guess her and her mom have gone a lot.
Really?
I guess so.
That's crazy.
That's
I don't know anybody who's actually gone to one.
And, well, her mom, again, love you, Helen. Her mom's really spiritual, like into that stuff.
Really? Like, so, into that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I guess so.
Really?
I would say so. I'm like, Helen, would you agree?
Like, would you agree?
But yeah, no, like, they're really into that stuff. So all this time I've been saying, I want a sign. And so this was all day Wednesday. And like I had said, I felt guilty. And I wanted answers. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, we started talking about the whole, like, spiritual thing. I'm like, I want answers. I want a sign. So everyone I talk to about this, I'm like, this is such a 21st century, like, is this even a real sign? I don't even know. What I'm going to tell you. So
I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah. So I go on TikTok that night, before you go to bed, you scroll through TikTok, whatever. And on TikTok, I mean, I feel like everyone's on TikTok around here.
Yeah,
but,
everybody knows, yeah.
It comes up with all, like, the stuff you're into, whether it's, like,
your
animal.
page.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's relatively the same stuff.
Yeah, it's usually, most people see, like, the same things, or, like, there's different sides of TikTok, where you see, like, maybe me and you are on the same side of TikTok, and we see the same shit,
right,
you know?
Right. So I'm scrolling, and meanwhile, I'm on FaceTime with Dan. So he can see my face as I'm scrolling. He was doing homework or whatever. He was, we're not really, whatever. It was before I was going to bed. Right. So I'm scrolling. Kid you not, I saved it. So I'm showing Alexa right now. Stop scrolling, message from heaven. Now, this has never happened on my For You page before. Like, I have never seen anything like this. I'm not on, like, heaven's side of TikTok. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this
I've
before.
never seen that either, and I don't think most people have.
Most people have.
Yeah.
So it, like, just really strange. So I was like, let me look. So it's one of those things where this person or whatever is flipping over cards. So
like,
it's like
mediums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never, like I said, never been to a medium,
right.
But she's flipping over cards. And it's a girl. Showed 4 cards. So the first one says, I'm, like, playing it as we speak, so I have verbatim. The first one says, I am so much better now. So obviously, like, and that's one of the things. I was like, I want to know, I don't want him to be in pain. I hope it was painless, like, all this other stuff. So he says, I'm so much better now. Not he. I'm speaking as if it's actually my grandfather, but I'm like, maybe it is a sign.
You're like, he is so much better now.
Okay, so it says, I am so much better now. The second one says, you have nothing to feel guilty about. Now, I'm all week.
This is the weirdest thing.
All week, I'm, like, feeling guilty. I'm like, I want a sign. Like, that right there, I was like, is this a joke? I'm like, is someone playing a joke on me right now? And then
I would have shit myself.
Dude, like, jawed to the floor. I'm like, nuh-uh. Like, nuh-uh.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Like, that, it was so specific, you know what I'm saying? And then the third one, my death was painless.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it could have said anything, and the fact that it said exactly what you were worrying about is like...
That's what I'm saying. So then the third one, my death was painless. Please don't worry or hold on to guilt. So same thing, like, painless, don't hold on to guilt. And I'm like, what? Like, nuh-uh. I'm like, like, cut the cameras. You know what I'm saying?
Cut the cameras.
So, and then the last one, which I didn't mention this before, but I mean, the past few years, like I said, he had been sick.
Right.
We didn't really see him as often, and like with family stuff, I don't know, we just weren't as close within the last few years or whatever.
Right.
And so then the last one says, I wish I had told you more often how much I love you. So when I say these cards are spot on to this, I mean, I don't go to church every Sunday, let me tell you that. I'm not super holy religious, but I'm like, I do believe in some, you know what I mean?
Like in, yeah. That you, I don't know how you could not look at that as like.
That is a sign.
Yeah.
And like, I'm telling you, my hand was like over my face. Dan was like, what are you doing? I show him. I'm like, I'm bawling my eyes out. He's like, oh my God. Like, I showed him. He was like, that's so weird. I sprint. My sister was in the shower.
She's like, Talia, I don't care.
I unlocked the door. Shower curtain completely off. I'm like, I might as well have jumped in the shower with her. I'm like showing her. She's like basically on the verge of tears because she's like, oh my God. I'm texting Mackenzie. I was like, is this not? And of course, you know, Mackenzie, like I said, they're kind of like, they're into that
like
stuff.
she's into that.
She's like, oh my God, it's a sign.
She was like, definitely, yes.
Yeah, she's like, oh my God. It's like all caps. She's like, this is insane. Like, whatever. Like, I'm like, oh my God. So that in itself, so obviously like that made me feel a little bit better about not being there and all that stuff. But yeah, that was my kind of crazy thing this week.
I mean, it's almost like, thank God you got that.
No, honestly, like, because, oh God, like because I was going to bed that night and I was like, the fact that I'm getting on a plane tomorrow, like, to come back here and I'm not doing, you know what I'm saying? But that, I was like, because I said, like, I was saying it to myself and, like, literally out loud. I sound crazy, but I'm like, please give me a sign. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I felt like I just needed that. It was just crazy to me.
I mean, like,
nothing like that has ever happened. And now I'm like, okay, well, now I kind of believe it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I would. I mean, the chances of that happening, I would believe it.
Everything was so, I obviously didn't wake my parents up or whatever. I showed my mom the next morning. I didn't even think I showed my dad. Oops. But
you're like, Dad, are you listening?
I know, I'm like, Dad, if you're listening. But my mom started like crying. Yeah. She was like, oh my God, because it literally was spot on. It was so weird.
I mean, that's insane.
It was
the
so
fact
weird.
that it answered every question you
like
had.
I said, that could be such a coincidence that just happened.
There's
but, like,
no way that's a coincidence.
That's never popped up.
I feel like that just doesn't happen, you know?
Because it literally said, like, stop scrolling, message from heaven in all caps. And I was like, what?
She's like, okay, cute. I've been waiting for this.
I know, I've been waiting for this one. So yeah, that was just kind of my crazy story of the week that I thought I'd share. I mean,
yeah, I mean, that's like,
I don't know. It just kind of took me by surprise.
No, that's insane.
But
that's absolutely insane. I'm so happy that happened to you.
I know. I'm like, it was kind of life changing. Let me tell you.
Bitch, yeah.
But no. But you know, it made
put
me
you
feel,
at like ease a little bit.
It made me feel better.
Yeah.
So moving on from that, we're gonna bring some light to the surface here. Let's talk about tea time.
Okay. So the fact that you say tea time, everybody's like, what is tea time? Yeah, bitch. Let me tell you a little bit about tea time. Freshman year, when we were sweet mates, we created this thing. It was, I don't know what the fuck this was. We created this thing where me and Skyla would both put on like our robes.
Our bathrobes, yes.
Our bathrobes.
At like
super late at night.
No, yeah.
Super late at night.
2, 3,
like
4.
Yeah, sometimes it would reach 4 a.m. We would put on our robes and we would eat sometimes, and we would go into our like joined bathroom because, you know, I lived on, it was a Jack and Jill, right? That's what it's called.
Yeah.
So I lived on one end, she lived on the other, and we would come into the bathroom, we would close the door, like our other roommates are like literally sleeping, and we would stand in our bathroom like with our huge ass mirror. We would just stand in our bathroom in our robes and spill the tea. It was literally like a little gossip hour. It was basically the podcast before the podcast existed.
Yeah.
It was basically us podcasting without mics.
Exactly. We would talk about everything under the sun. Yes. Alexa, I remember, oh my God, I remember this like it was yesterday.
Yes.
Holding her jar of peanut butter or almond butter, whatever it was at the time.
Yes.
Spoon in hand, just eating it.
And she was like, well, bitch, let me get mine too. So the
we were just both eating peanut butter out of the jar, like talking about.
And it was like 4 a.m.
No, literally, the sun was rising in our quadrant of the
earth.
The
sun was rising in our quadrant of the earth, and we were sitting in our robes.
Just talking. I don't even, like, what were we talking about? It was the most
random shit. Like, we would talk about, like, anything.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, freshman year drama, it's different, but it, like, you know, it was kind of like everybody else's drama, I guess, right, and ours too.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like, yeah, it was mainly us kind of
Yeah, our roommates, like, what's going on with this and that, like, other people, you know.
Our roommates, we love you.
The guys. Yes. It was a lot. We would literally talk about anything. For a long time, too. Like, we would just gossip for a long time.